If I actually gave any real shits or fucks about my streaming presence, I'd probably set up some kind of Patreon fund or, I don't know, pay me kind of button so that I could afford to get an actual wireless headset and be able to get into this a lot easier than having to juggle cords and crap. Anyway, welcome back, Guardians, Ghosts, and Gamers. This is Hako, your artist poet, here on PlayStation 4. And yeah, like the title says, it's how to have fun playing Destiny 2. Now, this is not aimed at anybody who's like a hyper competitive player. This is all a filthy potato casuals, excuse me, perspective. I am unscripted, unprofessional. I have a general idea of what I want to talk about when I start these things, and then I just meander on down the road. Like, what the fuck, Drifter? What do you want now? Jesus. Nothing. He wants nothing. He has nothing to offer me. I've already completed this quest like 5 times. I'm not doing it anymore. I don't know why this happens. Why it's like every time I make a new character, which, yeah, I ran that farming exploit with my characters a few seasons ago, and now I'm paying the price for it. Ado over here wants me to play with, those stupid whatever bounties, and I'm like, don't care. Um, and that's the thing. The TLDW is play what you want in Destiny. It's you paid for it or you downloaded it for free. Maybe you bought the season pass. Maybe you bought the annual pass. I did. I bought the annual pass, and I bought this game when it was when yeah. I have a free copy loaded on my console now, so I can just load up Destiny whenever I feel like it. Um, but I did pay for the actual full collector edition when the Red War was launched as the primary campaign. So I'm going to try to keep this as brief as possible. The idea is that I have been more or less dissatisfied with Destiny 2 since its launch. I got super excited when I found out our Guardians were losing their light powers, and I was like, "Oh, that's great! We're going to start a whole new arc here. We're going to be able to play unpowered Guardians. Maybe that'll be a choice. Maybe we'll have different abilities or things like that." But no, it was like less than 20 hours later, we had all our powers back. And I say 20 hours because that was like the slow burn version. If you're like exploring everything along the way, kind of thing. But if you're just, a straight up grinder, you'd probably had your powers fully. You probably completed the Red War campaign in less than 10 hours. But anyway, and that's what I'm saying is that the content is so burnable, yet Bungie gets so precious about holding everybody back. There's a TDT, that's Tango Delta Tango, is a YouTube channel, and they're actually a collaborative. Anyway, one of their content creators put out a video called "The Psychology of Gaming." Let's just look it up. I'm not going to put any links or anything in this video because, it's fun to go find the answers yourself. Um, but the point being is that they talk about things called false difficulty, and that it's used in casinos. You're given just enough of a win condition that you feel like you can succeed, but understand the house always wins. It doesn't matter what you think is happening, the house is always going to win. And for Bungie, the house, that means keeping you playing, whether you're buying content or consumables or you're buying into the cosmetics or whatever. That is irrelevant. They just want you clicking along. Um, in much of the same way that free-to-play gotcha games are kind of constructed. Free-to-play gotcha games, they're free-to-play, but they're pay-to-win. And I'm experiencing my paywall right now in Raid Shadow Legends, which is fine. I mean, I kind of went into Raid Shadow Legends with the full idea that I was never going to buy anything in the game, and I was going to play just the free-to-play stuff. And if that meant that I hit a player cap at a certain point, then that's the point that I hit the player cap. And in analyzing what is available past that paywall in Raid Shadow Legends, I realize it's not really why I'm playing Raid Shadow Legends. I'm playing Raid Shadow Legends because I'm treating it like a strategy resource manager game. A lot like playing Magic the Gathering. or playing, well, not really even Risk, because that doesn't really count, but you kind of get my point, I think. If you're familiar with Magic the Gathering, it's a tabletop card game. It's a resource management game. It really is. And there's a lot of strategy and tactic goes into playing with it. There's a lot of timing involved with it. But timing is nothing more than managing the resource of time. Where are you? Are you underground? You are underground, aren't you, buddy? Can we get down there from here? No, I don't think we can. I'm trying to be relevant while also being relevant, which is kind of fun. Here we go. This is the exit. Yay. See what happens when you play together? You understand that it's a thing. Let's just burn his ass down. You know what? Burn him down. We're done. You burnt, as Seth Meyers would say. But in any case, ooh, big bad. And he's ashes. In any case, I love that. Sorry. I'm laughing at my own jokes. So yeah, I'm at the point right now with Raid Shadow Legends that I've been at the point with Destiny for good, what, 6 years? No, 3 years in Destiny 2, isn't it? It's been, no, it's longer than that. I don't remember. It kind of all just fuses all together. See, back in Destiny 1, we had struggles in D1, okay? Uh, there were buggy lobbies, there were glitchy bosses, there was cheating, Crucible players, the whole gamut that you get in D2. The big difference with D1 is that everything I did felt relevant. Then all of a sudden D2 comes along, they wipe all your, collectibles, they wipe your account essentially. Yes, I was able to bring over my Titan and my Hunter and my Warlock. Yes, I did actually play all three characters back in D1. But, I had to earn all their equipment all over again. I had to earn their abilities all over again. I had to do everything all over again except for the fact that I had all these collectibles on D1, and I still have them on D1. And, if I really feel like I want to play with the Galahorn, I can go play with the Galahorn. And, but it's like, no, I don't want to go to D1 to play with the Galahorn. I want to be able to play with the Galahorn here. I kicked my fucking ass to get the Galahorn. Twice, by the way. And the same goes for, the Outbreak Prime, which we have the Outbreak Prime, of course. And more importantly, the one thing that kind of really salted me was the loss of my Long Tomorrow armor, which I have got more or less kind of the same armor now, and my emblem that I spent 70 hours streaming with and without friends called Can't Stop the Signal. And that was gone. I mean, why couldn't have that transferred over to D2? I don't understand. Well, they probably had a whole bunch of reasons. For the same reasons why they tried to do sunsetting on weapons, is that, there's only so much, data you can push through an engine that you have, and it's not our fault that you're running on a 1996 engine in a next gen, fourth gen fucking game, pretty much. So now we have PlayStation 5. I'm not on PlayStation 5, mind you. My son, ran some Destiny on PlayStation 5, and he was okay with it. He doesn't really quite like it. Something about the frame rates just kind of feel unnatural. But again, how are you going to supposed to have? How did I end up having fun playing Destiny again? Quite literally, just playing what I want, staying true to the message of the designers. This is a first-person shooter, an FPS. Yes, it is a looter, and yes, it is a shared world, and it's not necessarily a persistent world, not like Conan Exiles would be. But it is persistent in the sense that if I were to take a season's break, there would be changes in the game mechanically in Sandbox that would affect the game without me being there, and they would affect me without me being there. And so, in that way, it does kind of make it kind of a persistent world, but it's a shared world, which means that I play socially with other players, whether they're actually in my fire team or not. This is a waste of ammo, by the way, so don't really invest too much. These are the same buggers that we used to get in the Black Forge armories. I mean, the Black Armory Forges. Wow, yeah, see how they pare down like that? Also notice the false difficulty of me not being able to spawn any heavy ammo for my grenade launchers in spite of the fact that I have doubled down on all those mods. I'm going to pick up an arc buddy, see if that helps. Really? With all the murder we've done here, I should have picked up at least a couple of grenade rounds, but nope, not happening. Back in D1, we figured out that if you wanted heavy ammo, you had to kill something with energy ammo. And if you wanted energy ammo, you had to kill something with primary ammo. And apparently that's been long since phased out of the system, so there's no pushing the loot table, so to speak, to kind of, giving you what you want. You just got to have RNG for it. And that's how Destiny really manipulates the difficulty in the game, by RNG. You could be lobbied with some really, really good players who have high points because, believe it or not, Destiny does track that. Um, there is a bunch of hidden stats that are available to be seen by the developers and by the engine, but you are, particularly not privy to. Um, and so, yeah, I found out about a year or two ago that having a high power level doesn't mean anything. Oh, look, there's a brick of ammo right there, which I don't even think I was there. Um, Having a high power level really doesn't mean much. I mean, if you're playing the game as a first-person shooter, then that's what you should be focusing on. It's kind of like, you're playing Pac-Man. Why are you playing Pac-Man? Well, you're trying to get high score. All right, you're trying to complete levels. You're trying to. Can I get in there? Can I get in there? No. How do I get in there again? It's been a while. Um, so yeah, if you're on point, I mean, what are you trying to complete in the game? You're trying to get the maximum power level in the game. Okay, that's called power creep. Destiny is that's an artificial win condition. Believe it or not, power creep is a false win. Just like you have false difficulties, you have false wins. Power creep is a false win. What you really want in this game is you want to have high play skills. You want to get good at platforming. You want to get good at aiming. You want to get good at timing your abilities. Um, because Destiny is not a first person shooter. Destiny is a resource manager, just like pretty much all other kind of RPGs really are. You have finite number of resources. I mean, if Destiny was a true first person shooter, you'd always be in first person and you'd always have ammo. That was a big frustrating point for myself. Is that why am I always ammo starved? I mean, if it's a power fantasy, then how come I don't have any power ammo? You know what I'm saying? I mean, let's be brutally honest about this. If it's a power fantasy game, and many devs have pushed it that way, then how come I run out of power ammo? How come I don't have power ammo? How come I have to wait to mayhem to have power ammo? How come I have to commit, close to 2,000, glimmer to equipping mods to give me power ammo? It doesn't make sense to me. So how do I have fun by avoiding that? Well, I play Lost Sectors. Specifically, I play Artifact's Edge and Kingship Dock, and I'll tell you why. Because both of those locations have public events that regularly spawn near them, which means they have a rally flag. See these things right here? That's a rally flag. So Kingship Dock, right here, there'll be a public event that spawns there, and you get Scorn, which is kind of a really difficult enemy. I find him to be annoying more than difficult. And then Artifact's Edge, which you'll get a public event that'll spawn here. So I play those. And what do I do there? Well, I complete my gunsmith bounties there, because I'm always amassing enhancement cores. Why do I have enhancement cores? Why do I care about enhancement cores? Because I'm doing the one thing in this game that really matters to me. I'm upgrading my weapons and my armor. I'm trying to get as high a stat value on my armor as I possibly can. Now, yes, Bungie has openly said if I do challenge mode raids and I do Grandmaster Nightfalls and I do Grandmaster Lost Sector or Legendary Lost Sectors, that I'm supposed to get higher stat values. That's bullshit. And I'm going to tell you why that's bullshit. It's because I do GMs, and they say, yeah, you get a chance at that. And I'm like, okay, so you're sweating your ass out for upwards of 2 hours at times, farming for something that's not going to drop very consistently with no reliability whatsoever, honestly. So why would you want to invest the most precious resource that you can never get back, and you can't even pay money to improve, and that is your time, your effort. Why should you stress on that? Why worry about that? So then something magical happened. My internet got so shitty at one point that Bungie insisted that I was deliberately disconnecting from games to exploit the game. And apparently, and my personal opinion is that I just got canceled because it happens twice to me. First was a 2 week suspension, the next was a 2 month suspension. And in both times, I had just finished a round of Gambit where I had, by chance, by RNG, lobbied in to 3 matches with the same fire team. Once on my side and then twice against me. And beat their ass, basically. I outperformed them when they were on my side, and I kicked their asses consistently while I was against them, as an invader, blowing their heads off. Because yes, I was an aggressive PvPer when I played Gambit, because technically, yes, Gambit is PvP. How do I know this? Because when I got my suspension, it says you are been barred from PvP experiences, and Gambit was included in that, which means that Bungie sees Gambit as PvP, which is why heavy ammo does not drop as frequently in Gambit as it should do, as it normally would do in basically a patrol or a strike zone. So there's that false difficulty set up again. And when I was not able to play the one mode of gameplay that I dove into when they took away Black Armory Forges, when they took away, all the arena style fighting aside from the Blind Well, which I could fuck all for the fucking Dreaming City. I have no fucking cares for the Dreaming City. I think the Dreaming City is a waste of space and data. I think the Dreaming City should just implode on its ass and just push all the Awoken either to Earth or to be orphans again on the reef. Um, yeah, it had a nice, fun little narrative niche during the Forsaken camp, season. Um, but honestly, yeah, the Dreaming City needs to just go pack up and go and take the Scorn with them because we're done with that shit. That's a chapter that needs to get gone. Okay, personally, if you could do Legends for for the Vault of Glass, then you could do Legends for the Last Wish. Seriously, I wouldn't have any problems with that. But anyway, like I said, I'm going to just wrap this up. I tried to be under 15 minutes, but I prattled. Sorry. Um, the best way to have fun with this game is realize that what you may be chasing might just be cosmetics. And honestly, hey, if you float better on cosmetics, if it makes you happy to look, sparkle pretties and all that stuff, go for it. That's perfectly fine. That's the way you want to play. But keep focused to your goals. Don't get swayed by FOMO. Don't get swayed by PP measurings. If you see somebody bragging and boasting about, their accomplishments, you know what? That's what they want to do. They want to play with that. They want to have that. That's fine. Let them have that. You play for what you want. You do you. Ooh, Icarus Grip would be nice, but I just don't play with that hand cannon. I mean, that sidearm. Um, let's see what we got going on in here now. I don't care. Notice what I'm deleting. All right. What I have, what I don't have. Wishbringer, ooh, moving target's nice, but don't care. Why? Because this is what I'm playing. I have Vorpal Weapon led from gold and boss spec on my 7th Seraph shotgun. No, I don't take that into Crucible. Not unless I really feel like I need to. It's there, but it's not used in that. I don't use swords because it's third person, but Banshee sometimes requires sword kills in his little bounty roundup, so I go ahead and I use swords. Yeah, see, look at that. This is what I'm talking about. I am pretty much close to. Let's see, we could do 1320 there. And I could do 1320 here. Oh, wait, here we go. There we go. See? The only thing I got to level up next is the artifact. I just got 3 more levels on that. That's it. So and I don't know. I didn't do any raids this season. I didn't do any nightfalls. any Grandmaster Nightfalls this season. I didn't do anything but the 3 playlist pinnacles and the Exo Challenge. That's all I worked on. And yeah, season's almost closed, and I'm at power level. So I'm like saying to you guys, power creep's not a goal. Don't worry about it. It's going to happen. Just play the game. Um, this is unimportant for the most part, especially since Destiny, believe it or not, really is a PvP game. It really is. The PvE element is just there for you to like try out a build or something like that, get familiar with like hand cannons timing versus the submachine gun versus the heavy machine gun, light machine gun, excuse me, versus your abilities or whatever like that. That's what the PvE content's really all about. Because when you look at the director, like I said, when I got my suspension, I found out that Gambit's considered a PvP event. Even though you spend the vast majority of the time being PvE, I mean, I actually, the last 3 matches of Gambit I played, nobody on my side invaded, and nobody on their side invaded. And we weren't even concerned about that. And it was still challenging matches. They were still very, very engaging and challenging matches. I like Gambit. But the thing is that after spending 2 months and 2 weeks not playing Crucible or playing Gambit, I realized how little I actually get out of Destiny beyond the first person shooter experience. Without the element of playing against a live opponent, I pretty much gave no shits for anything else. There wasn't anything else to do. That's why I decided, hey, you know what? That chasing guns for better PvP playing was all I was doing. But with no PvP, there was no need for me to chase guns. Then I discovered, Warmind cells are still a thing. Global Reach is actually very effective. And there are some really good Seraph weapons. I mean, I know the Ikolos submachine gun seems to be everybody's wet panty, but for the most part, the Seraph submachine gun is just as good, in my opinion, depending on the roles you get. So you look for the roles that work for you. So and they're world drops. You don't have to do any special activities to get these weapons. I didn't need to go and do hours and hours and hours of a dungeon to to get the carbine. I didn't need to do hours of a dungeon to get the SMG or the Seven Seraph Saw. I just played the game. Plus, I earned these just by playing the season that they came out in, and then getting the drops as they happened. I got this Seraph sidearm just recently from the gunsmith. They're attainable. It's attainable. This is some of this stuff here is Iron Banner. Some of this stuff here is some Nightfall Pinnacle. I mean strikes, strike pinnacles and Gambit pinnacles, and of course the control pinnacles. Some of this stuff I didn't get. Most of the armor I got, as you can see, I just get it from engrams and shit. Most of the levels on these weapons I got from doing the exo challenges and stuff. And I'm like, you don't need to break your ass to get through this game, because it is basically an over glorified app game. You need to remind yourself that Bungie, Destiny 1 was an actual playing experience. And I think that's what the real difference is between Destiny 1 and Destiny 2. For me, Destiny 1 felt like an actual experimental experience. It did a lot to bring you into the universe and try to challenge you with these different ideas and these different characters and these different loadouts and weapons and things like that. D2 still kind of has all that DNA in it, but it is very app mechanic driven. And honestly, I mean, if this game was on a cell phone or a tablet, probably have just as much fun playing it there as I do on a console. In fact, I'm surprised it's not. I think you can play actually on a tablet through Stadia. But yeah, so play what you want in Destiny. If you play the raid because you want to play the raid, don't play the raid for the loot. And that's what I'm trying to say is don't play this game for its loot or its leaderboards or its cosmetics, because you're just going to get yourself disappointed. You're going to get that feeling no player wants. That's the feeling of being a grinder. You want to be a farmer, or you want to be a binger, because I'm a binge player when it comes to playing games. If I'm in a mode where I'm just kind of blowing shit up, shooting enemies. That's kind of what you do. That's why it's called a first-person shooter. I'm in first-person view and I'm shooting shit. Am I running around with a sword all the time? Not anymore. Because I don't like the third person stuff. I don't want to be third person. I want to be first person. I want to be shooting stuff. I want ammo pouring out of the environment to to keep me engaged. Because I am one of those players. If I find God mode, man, that brings me back every single time. If I can reach God mode play within a couple levels, then I'm not disappointed. It's when I get shut down before I even get a chance to score the first round, that's when I start to give up. That's when I start thinking, okay, this is not worth my effort. You want to know why? Because this is not a job. I don't get paid to do this. Like I said from the very start, I'm unprofessional, unscripted. I have a talking point. I go with that, and that's exactly the way I play Destiny 2. I come into the game with an idea, something I want to have to do. I want to get something done. I do it for as long as I can, and then I'm like, you know what? We're done here. Let's go off and go play something else, or let's go get some real work done in the real world. And that's kind of all I really wanted to share. Again, like I said, I am Hako, your artist poet here on PlayStation 4. Thanks for stopping by. I'll catch you later, maybe, possibly. Who knows? Maybe not.